once again. So we do have game 2 going to be coming at you guys. Complexity versus Stay Green here. Once we actually get loaded into the selection stage, we'll go ahead and jump into it. In fact, there we go. All right, so Complexity, Stay Green, game number 2. Let's take a look. Blind banning stage we go for both of the Swindamelons and B-Kid here. Of course, once again, the 2 captains. Obviously, Stay Green this time on the Legion side and Complexity on the Hellborn side. Remember, I mean, Stay Green, they actually used one of their blind bans on that Bubbles last game.
Yeah.
Instead of say the Keeper of the Forest, who ended up being, of course, first picked by Complexity. So, kind of wonder a little bit exactly how it's going to go around this time here. Maybe what could have been different if they actually banned the Keeper of the Forest instead. Look at this game. Keeper of the Forest Wild Soul, blind ban by Swindamelons, and then Keeper of the Forest Fade coming out from Complexity. But it's just kind of odd, because especially when you're on the Legion side, to then to go ahead and ban Keeper of the Forest, it's like, well, you had the chance to pick him up yourself. So,
I know.
But going to be blind ban here. By both teams, in fact.
Yeah, I find it weird that, okay, you're Hellborn and you don't ban out Keeper, but then you're Legion and then you do. Like, that doesn't really make sense to me. Of course, Hellborn, B-Kid's banning out the Keeper of the Forest and the Fade. And, you know, Stay Green, they love to run their Fade. And they don't want to give it to them. So,
yeah.
And since they are first pick, it is a smart thing to do. Now, there are a lot of good jungles still in that pool. And Tempest Ophelia locked up right away, as well as like Glacius. And that's a smart thing to do, especially when you're Hellborn. Or when you're second pick, I should say, is if you do lock that Ophelia, or if Ophelia finds her way into that lockpick pool, it is a smart decision to lock that Glacius as well. And now there's also Parasite.
Yeah.
We see B could ban out Parasite all the time. There's also Jeremiah, which we talked about yesterday with TDM, running that a lot lately. And I wonder if more teams are going to start to, you know, run that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. He really just seems like one of those heroes that he'll be played in the game, he'll do very well, and basically win the game for the team, and then we just won't see him for a while again. It's just like he kind of seems like he's in those cycles. Whether that's because he just ultimately gets banned or just simply passed up. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a mix of both, but yeah, he just seems like he's just one of those heroes. Parasite is the one that's definitely standing out to me here. You brought that up because, especially with B-Kid, he loves to just blind ban that Parasite, but instead doing Keeper and Fade this time around. As you mentioned, of course, Fade, especially for Stay Green, they do like to play hair, so nothing too wrong there necessarily. But Aluna Engineer is actually going to be the follow-up from Swindamelons. And now back to B-Kid, so we'll see maybe if he puts that Parasite option in there, or if he'll just gladly go ahead and pass that up and make sure that gets banned in the banning stage perhaps. But obviously on B-Kid now to lock up the 6th and final overall hero. Going to be coming up here, but yet again, it's a lot more of a support-heavy lock pool, just like last game, actually. So,
yeah, it is. There's not really that many suicides. When we see Plague Rider, Bubbles all the time locked up, and Swindamelon's doing something a little bit different. Luna and Engineer. Obviously, B-Kid had the first 2 locks. He wanted to lock the other jungler, which was Ophelia, and then I talked about how you kind of have to lock Glacius as well if you're the second pick. Now he didn't. He has one more option for a suicide hero, and I was gonna say probably if there's only gonna be one suicide hero in that pool, then you probably shouldn't lock one at all because you're probably not gonna. You might not have access to it. Now that being said, because there are 2 very strong junglers, I don't suspect that one of those suicide heroes would get picked up. So I think he could have logged something like a Plague Rider right there.
Yeah. Moon Queen, though, coming out as a final lock, and more so for Stay Green, I can see them picking up that Moon Queen. I don't know if that's Complexity, you know, I don't know if Haxford really is known for playing the Moon Queen. Despite her being more of a popular carry hero on the scene, I don't know if Complexity is actually
they
kind of
really
picked
haven't,
up on
have they?
that. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious about that. Again, B-Kid does seem to do this, though. Is that one of those dangling that pick out there kind of deals? Now, Moon Queen is a dangerous hero, so I don't know if it's like, I refer to that, you know, more something like Cthulhu Fawn against Bryzed or something like that, but I don't know if Moon Queen's a hero that you should be looking to give up necessarily, but anyways, put in the lock pool, so we'll see if she comes about here when it comes to the lock-picking stage. But so of course the band's picking up here. In fact, one more band to go. We have Zephyr, Pebbles, Plague Rider, Parasite, and Tundra coming out. So yeah, sure enough, we do see the Parasite in there, of course, banned by B-Kid, and actually Demented Shaman is even going to be the final band coming out from him. So first pick coming up here from SG.
Yeah, that is interesting about the Moon Queen. Like I never thought about it, but until you mentioned it, now it does make more sense. They never do run it, do they?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they might actually try to run it and see how Haxton fares on that Moon Queen. But we'll have to wait and see. There are a lot of other options still for carry. I mean, there's still Draconis in the pool. There's still Silhouette. There's still Dark Lady. There's still Magebane, who never gets picked, never gets enough love.
Magebane just died, man. We do not see him anymore. Nothing happened either. It's just, nah, we don't want to play this here anymore.
Yeah.
Just kind of died out. So
I think it's just simply he farms really fast, and he's good in late game, and he's actually pretty damn good in lane as well. But as far as mid game aggression and being able to team fight early on,
yeah,
is not exactly the strongest. Like, you know, Dark Lady has a little bit more utility in all her spells. Silhouette has more utility as well. Same with Draconis. And I think Draconis just does a lot more in team fights later on than Magebane. So Wretched Hag's the first pick coming out for Stay Green.
Yeah, very, very possible. I mean, that's a good point to bring up. When you think about the other carries, they just seem to bring a little bit more, you know, in the earlier stages of the game as far as the team support and getting involved. So perhaps that ultimately is the reason. But anyways, Wretched Hag, the first pick. Bubble's going to be picked up, and then Moraxis actually coming out for Complexity. So yeah, he was left open, and sure enough, snatched up here by Complexity. But again, that goes back to the Bubbles pick. I mean, the first game, Bubbles was blind banned by Stay Green, so they really didn't want Complexity to play the first game. But this time around, they don't even ban it in the regular banning stage, and sure enough, it's eventually picked up by Complexity. So again, I kind of find things like that, those trends, especially going from one game to the next, kind of interesting when you look at it. But
yeah.
Bubbles, Moraxis, of course, very strong heroes there for Complexity, and gives them plenty of options now.
Yeah, of course, with Plague banned, it kind of does up the effectiveness of a Suicide Hero like Bubbles or like Pharaoh, and they have that to work with. They don't have to worry about support or a Suicide Hero once they get into that lockpick pool, and there's already 2 junglers available, so they can take one of those. So with Moraxis being picked up, they also have supports in that lockpick pool to work with, like Engineer or Glacius or Luna. All of those will work fantastically with Moraxis. They can choose depending on what Stay Green's lineup is, which is the best fit for him. Now, as far as the next pick right here for Complexity, I'm very curious as to what they do, because do you wait and pick your support in the lockpick pool? Do you wait or maybe pick your... Oh, speaking of Jereziah, as I talked about, will more teams pick him up? Well, there's your answer.
Jereziah Draconis. That sounds dangerous, man. I almost said something else, but that's definitely has a lot of potential to be just really, frankly, Jereziah in general. He's just an annoying hero to play against. B-Kid, obviously, he went through a phase where he always blind banned Jereziah. I mean, he just didn't want to deal against it for that reason. So, picked up here by Stay Green. We'll see how much of an impact, obviously, he can have for them. What kind of role he's ultimately played in as well. Now, Complexity. So, do you address that Jereziah pickup here now with, say, something like an Electrician? I mean, or do you just, kind of go? I guess also a candidate for a Nullfire Blade as far as a carry option or something like that could be potential here now too. Maybe more something. I mean, there's Silhouette still on the board, so could go her as well.
There is Silhouette, and that should be they go with Dark Lady. Okay. So yeah, I like your thing. Just picking your carry here, and then worry about your support plus maybe a jungle in the next or in the lockpick phase. Or the lockpick phase. So the first pick coming out for Skyzo. Well, not Skyzo. For Swindlemelons and Stay Green. Always Skyzo throws me off just a little bit as it's pointing at them, but obviously they're not doing the picking. But yeah, it's gonna be. I'm wondering what they're gonna do. They actually go Tempest over Ophelia, and I think it's simply because Glacius is locked up in that pool as well. So that's one of the smart things that I mentioned. When you have Ophelia in that pool, it's smart as second pick to lock up that Glacius.
Yeah.
So they do go with Tempest.
Yeah, and I'm guessing here, I mean, Ophelia Glacius could be a strong response now from Complexity. I don't see why not. Yeah, Ophelia Glacius sure enough picked up here. And now it's back to Stay Green, probably going to see the Lunar Engineer. Wouldn't make much sense to go the Moon Queen here, so just depending on who they feel like supporting, either the Draconis or even Jereziah a little bit better. Or, of course, eventually the late game. I mean, you always talk about Engineer having the stronger late game potential, even as far as out of the support heroes at least. So maybe that's what they want to aim for. But Luna, of course, brings her own set of attributes to the table. So
yeah,
I wouldn't see really a problem with either one. Just where we feel necessary, and it is going to be Engineer in the end. So yeah, both teams really coming out with very strong lineups here, honestly. I mean, Complexity is it definitely is, once again, more Complexity-esque. This goes back to even more of an old-school style of theirs of, just probably the perfect lineup. I mean, they got Ophelia in the jungle, they have Dark Lady Glacius, or I guess it could end up being a Glacius Moraxis mid, and then Bubble Suicide. So they got not only strong heroes, but heroes that, well, their players play very well, so...
I really like. I mean, the Complexity lineup is very sound. It's very safe. It's very standard too.
Yeah.
But look, I really feel like Jereziah is going to kind of have a lot to do with the success of Stay Green if they do win this game, because you have Jeremiah. You have such strong freaking team fight between Jeremiah, Draconis with the Cataclysmic Assault, the Engineer Ultimate, the Tempest Ultimate, and then the Bat Blast on top of that, and just all of the great things that Hag does in that team fight. So both lineups are fantastic, and I will say that Stay Green's is a little bit different, but I think it's very effective.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I mean, as appealing as Complexities is, and just as sound as it is, Stay Green, yeah, sure, maybe a little bit different, but at the same time, very, very powerful. And especially with K's, who's going to be playing this Jeremiah. Again, just Jeremiah in general, very annoying to play against. And if you do not deal with him, whether that's locking him down, whether that's bursting him down, there's several options there. But you got to be able to make sure to accomplish that, or else he will turn fights around as he does every single time. So, Soul's Blessing, the Protective Charm, and whatnot. So
look at this very aggressive ward placed out by Franz. I'm surprised he actually got it off and walked that far before being spotted. But it's way up here in the jungle.
Yeah.
So it does look like it's going to be a manned-up tri-lane, or pseudo-tri-lane for Complexity with Ophelia, Glacius, and Meraxis.
Yeah, very interesting, actually. I guess, did you see that coming? Was that something that you could have thought, or did you just expect him to go the usual?
Every single time Ophelia's in the pool, or on your team, there's always an option to man up and go long lane and a tri-lane. Simply because of how strong and how much of a presence she has, and being able to dive heroes behind their tower, using the extra minion to tank up the damage, then use whatever spell they have, whether it be Minotaur Stun or Catman Slow. And it's spreading out the damage onto your creep and not to the hero. So it's very easy to dive. And for that reason, Complexity, or any team for that matter, can run Ophelia in a long lane, tri-lane.
Yeah. All right, well, here we are coming out of the pause and going to get things kicked off now. But yeah, it definitely looks like Chessie on that Ophelia, of course. He is already lined up to be in the bottom jungle here. Of course, Glacius also placing another ward aside up here at the top, at the ramp, spotting the top rune, and also giving vision for the middle lane here just in case, which is actually going to be Bubbles. So Moomiander, that puts him in a little bit different position. He's so used to playing the suicide Bubbles here, but going to be playing a mid Bubbles, actually.
This is basically like a suicide, though, because he ever gets two. So, and another vote to pause actually coming out on the other side. So Complexity now votes to pause.
And, well, I mean, the lanes for SG also a little bit interesting, too, when you look at it. I mean, you got Engineer Draconis mid, Wretched Hag solo short bottom, and Jeremiah is actually going to be the suicide top, with Tempest, at least to start, is going to be in his own jungle. But again, especially with what's going on down here, very possible we'll have Glacius and Ophelia, maybe even run him out of the jungle. So, but... yeah, I mean, Complexity going something a little bit different, but so did Stay Green, honestly. So it's going to be fun to see how this laning phase now kind of plays out here.
Yeah,
between these two teams.
Now Tempest is in his own jungle for now. You might want to see a transition from them because Ophelia and Glacius will be roaming around, and that is a very dangerous combination to have roam around in your jungle looking for your Tempest and diving your. It's actually a Wretched Hag, so they did have the Wretched Hag in the short lane against 3. Well, pseudo tri-lane, I should say. And that's probably one of the better heroes you can have because she obviously does have that blink ability and can get away from any possible ganks. It's very difficult to set something up with a Minotaur or something like that because obviously she can just blink away. So Speaker disconnects right there.
Yeah. It's always, whenever I see that message, the disconnect is better than timed out because disconnect usually means they actually just did it themselves and so maybe just restarting or whatever. But timed out is where they're like, oh god, here we go. But so hopefully it comes back very shortly here and then can be able to jump back into what is game number 2. Obviously Complexity up 1-0 here in the losers bracket finals. Again, this landing phase. So you have Wretched Hag down here against what is going to be, well, a Meraxis Glacius eventually. And, of course, Hag going to be troublesome for him. And then the top lane, Jeremiah versus Darkly. That's actually kind of an interesting matchup there. Jeremiah versus Darkly up top. As Jeremiah does have the hatchet and shield to use, so... of course, so does Darkly, and Darkly did get pulled some regen, both the health potion and even 3 more tangos. So
as did Jeremiah.
Did he? Oh yeah, wow.
Well, just the tangos, but not the health potion. That's going to be an interesting matchup because especially with Dark Lady, she has so much extra regen. She should be very, very aggressive. But really, how aggressive can you be to a Jeremiah that can just heal himself and then has extra regen on top of that? So that'll be an interesting matchup right there. It'll just be, I think, a CS war if anything.
Yeah. Yeah, because Kzu playing the Jeremiah against, of course, Haxrin on the Dark Lady here. So apparently they need a remake, as I don't know, maybe you just can't join back into the game or server's just not that great or something, but they're going to go ahead and remake here, and we'll go ahead and jump into the lobby whenever we can, as soon as possible. Of course, that will means with the Hunter lobby, we'll have to actually go through the lock picking stage again, and you always do gotta feel a little bit cautious doing that, because
Yep.
sometimes they do mess up.
Sometimes when we touch. I don't know the words after that.
What?
You know that song?
I-
Sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, or whatever that word is. I wanna hold you.
The random song outbursts. Love it.
Yeah. That's what we do when we have some downtime on Honcast.
Yeah,
Sing
you know.
some
also
great oldies, some
triangles.
Disney tunes, what have you.
Oh, love Disney tunes. Fan of the Disney music, that's for sure.
Who isn't?
All right, so going back into the game now. And gonna hopefully, again, get things sorted out here and then jumping back in. Going.
Yeah, it looks like B-Kid's having some issues with some lag.
Oh, yeah. Apparently he is. Well,
Some more tunes to sing, I guess.
yeah. Some more tunes indeed. All right, so, yeah, apparently B-Kid is getting some issues on his end, so hopefully, again, nothing too serious here, and then we can move on with the series and move on with the day in general, because there is, of course, plenty of, many more matches to be played. I mean, no matter what happens here. Obviously, we do have Trademark Esports awaiting their opponent is to face the winner of this series here in their best of 5 matchup, but, of course, TDM will be up 1-0. Coming from the winner's bracket, so it will be a tough fight for whichever team wins here against already a strong TDM team, of course. So gonna be fun. I'll see when that eventually comes here. So
I wonder if we're going to see some more rally today from Trademark Esports
yeah,
in the eventual grand finals. And I did pick it yesterday. It didn't work out at all. I don't think it was really the rally pick, though. It was
no, it was
a
just
number of other different things.
yeah.
Obviously, the roam from Stay Green was pretty damn strong. Regardless, if there's any kind of hero that's good against roaming like that, it's a strength hero that has a free push book, which is rally. And even then, he still was dying over and over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. I mean, it's always obviously whenever we see a unique pickup like that, you like to, and if it doesn't work out in the end, or hell, even if it works out, you like to lean towards the route of, oh, well, it didn't work because they picked that hero. But,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, more of this always seems like that it's not that case. It seems like it's just because around him it just didn't work out. But yeah, Rally, it was kind of funny, and as you said, I mean, apparently TDM has been running that, and actually Nomad. We've seen Nomad picked up by them too. I know Noob G has been running Nomad a little bit lately. In fact, we saw that earlier in a series from them. I forget exactly which one, but I know we saw it recently, and that was a lot of fun to watch, and definitely worked out. So we'll see. Eventually, again, that's they're waiting for the grand finals to face the winner of this series. So once that comes about, then who knows what they'll do. But we do know the lineups for this game, of course, between these two teams. And once again, we do have the Jeremiah pickup over here for Stay Green. So intrigued to see that. Of course, paired up with especially like a Draconis, man. That seems like they're gonna be so deadly because you got a Draconis who already normally goes for a nullstone first item, so you're gonna have to deal with that on top of their protective charm, most likely in a lot of cases, and then you have him just pressing R and just doing mass damage.
Well, I'm trying to think of the lineup again from.
It was Tempest,
Complexity.
Draconis, Wretched Hag, Jeremiah, Glacius, I believe.
Or for complexity, they had Ophelia, Glacius.
Oh,
Miraxus,
yeah, they had
Bubble.
Glacius, yeah.
So basically, actually, now that I think about it, the only way that they can cancel a Protective Charm plus a Tempest Soul is a Skeleton King from Chessie.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very effective if they don't have that Skeleton King ready to go.
Yeah, that's true. So, and that gets to also the point of, obviously for Jeremiah, who do you focus on as far as make sure?
Yeah.
Do you put it on the Tempest for him to initiate with, or do you actually just put it on Draconis to keep him alive? Obviously, that could depend on the items and the time of the game and whatnot, but it's going to be fun to see what he prioritizes, basically.
Yeah.
Comes into that.
Yeah, it depends. I still feel like in most situations, still Shrunken Head is going to be effective.
Yeah.
Onto a hero like Draconis. So not only can you save yourself and not worry and rely on the rest of your team, not to say that you can't trust your team, but there are always going to be situations where you have to use it yourself. So, yeah.
You see them talking in chat right here. They're trying to make sure to not mess up here in the lock-picking stage. So, of course, again, the biggest thing to remember is do not lock more than 2 heroes you're going to play.
Right, exactly.
No, I'll lock exactly the 2 heroes that you're going to play. It's pretty much the safest way to do it. And then everything should work out after that. So,
yep.
hopefully that's what we have here. So they have remade, of course, and into the game we go. Again, just to kind of clarify here, it is a USC server, yeah, so not having to get some more drama from that. Oh, it's European all of a sudden for some reason.
Slick's being about, what, 270?
270 this game.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad. Not too shabby. Yes, that's something he has to deal with. The good old Pestilence Almond Raw bans.
Yeah,
Standard Pharaoh.
We know that if your first pick, you absolutely want to ban out. Oh, wait, no, they banned out Raw. So I don't know why they would do that. Like, their first pick, they can just pick it up first in the lockpick pool. Like, what are they thinking?
That was silly.
Yeah.
All right, so there goes Tempest, Glacius, Ophelia, Aluna, Engineer. So now lock something random. Okay, Flimpy said, yeah. Okay. So now into the bans we go. Again, now obviously just don't ban any heroes that you actually picked up. That seems like it'd be very self-explanatory. But you never know. You never know. Ooh, Keeper of the Forest. They're actually banning some serious ones.
Alonia.
Alonia, Armadon. Okay, that's good. Looks good to me. Now into the picks we go. Then eventually into the game, of course. So.
Yeah, but, you know, very standard, or not standard, but very strong lineups on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And, that is one of the issues I think I have with lockpick is that, you know, before in banning pick, I would see so many teams get completely outdrafted. You're like, oh man, like they bombed it. It's going to be bad. But I see so many more times than not with lockpick, you have 2 fantastic lineups on both sides.
Yeah.
Simply because you know teams just lock very safe. Like they never try to screw each other over.
Well, that's the biggest reason I think. Yeah, it's because in banning pick, it was usually more of a case where it came down to that last pick, and then that's where they throw the curveball, and you know, that's where they would really be like, okay, so no, this is what we're going with. Where in lockpick, you don't ultimately really have the chance to kind of do that as crazy, I guess. I mean, sure, really, I guess the third regular pick is where that kind of comes about, and that's where we do occasionally see that. But yeah, I mean, it has been a while since we had banning pick, of course. So I'm kind of trying to even think back exactly how it went.
Let's get it on.
Anyways, the game is resuming here, so let's take a look. Game number 2, pending no pauses. We are now on our way. So, yeah, both teams have very strong lineups, as you put it. Definitely going to come down to execution here, and again, both teams actually laned very interesting. Now, I don't think they actually talked about that if they're going to go to the same lanes, if they have to even.
Oh man,
they're not.
I don't know if this is a really shady thing, but I see both Jereziah and Darkly have different items.
Yeah.
No, that's not a big deal, but it is kind of shady.
Yeah. But again, both teams are taking advantage of it. So in the end, it's not like only one team's like just trying to abuse the fact.
And then the other thing too is Glacius might not get this ward down. He's risking it. He's
True.
running up here. He's all in. He actually places it in a different spot now. As a result, I don't know if that got spotted, but he did place it a little bit to the left. It could get countered. It might not. He wanted to place it a little bit more to the left because people, you know, like I talked about last time. So many people do place sentries right here because it's such an open spot and it catches maybe like 1, 2, 3 different ward spots.
Yeah.
This might be on the edge of that. It might not be. I'm not
That's
sure.
true. Yeah, I have to get that. You see, you can't do that though. You can't say okay. See,
Of course.
of course, yeah.
Duh.
But yeah. But again, I mean, the problem with that is like they've already like even bought different items. See, well, the thing is, Jereziah, he was actually going bottom, so that was something else I was also going to point out. Not only different.
Oh, he was
going bottom in this game. The previous game, he actually went top though, and so now he is going to go back to the top lane. So, it looks like they are just going to settle that. So Engineer, Draconis mid, and that means Hag will eventually be in the bottom lane, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is going to work out in that sense.
But yeah, we do have different items on both Jereziah and Dark Lady, so I just find that kind of I don't like to see that, but not the biggest deal in the world. Like they both switched them.
Well,
so
exactly. Like I said, if they agreed to say same item, same lanes, and then one team did it, then it's like, of course, yeah, that's just shady. But I mean, they didn't even talk about it. Like both teams did it. It's like, okay, it's whatever. You know, life moves on. Here we go, game number 1. We've got 30 seconds into the game, so It actually is happening, and it kind of just like the start of the last game, where at least it was looking to be, and here we have this game. Ophelia and Glacius, of course, kind of roaming about the jungle, trying to maybe find this Tempest, but Tempest right off the bat, he is actually going to go ahead and head towards the top, so of course, you know, figuring that...
Oh.
Yeah,
Now, Engineer walked up here and was,
saw that.
you know, attacking a little bit, exchanging with Glacius, and placed a ward. I wonder if Franzi spotted that out, because that's going to be a very crucial ward for Stay Green. They're going to need that to prevent the roam coming out from both Glacius and Ophelia here in the mid lane. So if Franzi spotted that out, which I think he did, like, I think it was pretty obvious. Some good harass coming out from Glacius early on in this Glacius Bubbles dual lane mid. And it's not so much about the lane comp as much as what are you getting out of it. Like, you know, on paper, Bubbles Glacius seems kind of funky and weird, but they have a dual range lane, dual spam lane against this Draconis and Engineer. If they're able to keep him down, then, you know, success.
Now the top lane, I mean, you mentioned a lot of just harassment expecting to come out, but both sides, I mean, even this time around, Jerzal actually did get a health potion this time too, because of even changing up his item build. So both him and Dark Lady just have mass regen this game as a result of this, and so don't need to worry too much about taking some damage here. So
There's the counter ward.
it's just going to be a creep farm battle. And yeah, as you mentioned, the counter ward is, where is it? Okay, it is right there. So yeah, they are going to effectively counter this, and Ophelia will gladly take the 50 gold bounty for that. So yeah, they definitely spotted Engineer putting that down, and so easy counter ward coming out here. And that will, of course, make the Legion team blind once again in their own jungle. And obviously, I'm sure that's got to make this middle lane and Draconis Engineer a little bit weary of what's going on, because Ophelia, obviously, they're very aware that she is in their own jungle, and they'll need to be very cautious about that now.
See, I was just talking about, you know, oh, they have the Glacius, and it doesn't matter about, I was just blabbering on about the comp, it doesn't matter, yada, 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 but I feel like Glacius should still be bottom. Like, you can, even though Hag is a little bit more difficult to gank, the blink at level 1 is kind of crappy range. It scales a little bit, and I can't see the scaling actually as I click on this tooltip right here.
If you go up here, okay, it doesn't actually have the scale.
Anyway, at level 1 it's 775. So it's not like the longest. I think it goes up to 1,200. I want to say maybe 1,000. I don't 100% remember, but you can still gank this guy. And if anything, if you're not killing him, Mirax is getting free farm and Hag is getting nothing. But Hag is actually 9-1 compared to Mirax, who's obviously winning just a little bit because he's melee with a hatchet. But I think you could keep down Hag, and one of the beauties of Bubbles is, in lineups is that he can do so well against you know, a tri-lane, a dual lane, things like that. And it's especially in the mid lane where it's even easier for Bubbles to get experience and get farm. So yeah, I think Glacius should just sit bottom and pressure this Hag a bit. You do actually have Hag being pressured. Speaking of that, the Minotaur is over here, but Hag blinks over to the right, and actually homecoming stones and TP's back to the well. So good play there by Swindlemelons, but he's going to lose out on a lot of experience in farm, so a successful gank. They actually don't know he has a TP.
In the meantime, coming up here, Bubbles is going to be kicked back, and he put in time. No, oh wow! Moomiander is able to port in time. That had to be literally at the last time. I mean,
he's going like this, like it's like an NES
he was
controller.
spamming that Q right there, and sure enough, it actually did port. So wow, I thought for sure that was Bloodlust, but no, Moomiander barely escapes. Good attempt, of course, coming out from Z-Freak on Tempest, but not successful. So, and speaking of counter wards, Skies who eventually did counter ward the original ward of sight that was placed here by Franzi. So you see some fun chatter coming out about that, but again, game moves on. So.
Yep.
Back, so yeah, looking at the middle matchup, by the way, as we have Ophelia running into Engineer, actually, with the Minotaur. But you have Draconis, who's 15-7, compared to a 9-5 Bubble. So it seems like Slicks here on Draconis is managing to get some solid farm. But we'll need to be careful here, as, again, Ophelia is in their jungle.
Thing is, I feel like Bubbles could do just as well by himself. Like, I don't think he really needs Glacius here. And how much are you really, how effective are you really being with Glacius here? Like, Ophelia hasn't ganked mid yet. And he has the Blazing Flight as well onto Draconis. So, and actually, Ophelia is caught in a very, very bad position. The Keg Stun does connect. Glacius actually might be in trouble as well. Bubbles is here. They're trying to get actually Bloodlust kill goes to Chessie. They do get Skyzo. Now Chessie launch. He gets denied by Moon. Great play by Moon Meander. But he might be in a little bit of trouble. He does have a Shell Surfer in just a little bit of time. 3 more seconds. The trees respawn to block him just a little bit. Not going to be enough. Swindlemelons with that Sonar Scream gets the kill.
Yeah, that was a very good attempt by Moomiander right there. But yeah, very good heads up at the same time. I mean, he got the he didn't get the Bloodlust, but of course involved with the assist and then denying his teammate right there to prevent an actual kill coming out, and then eventually getting taken out though. So pretty crazy exchange going on here in the jungle. Obviously, Swindlemelons on Hack. He came over as well for the assistance. That did free up some free farm for Miraxis in the meantime.
Right.
Miraxis looking very good. Look at his farm. We had 26-6 here. But speaking of that, comparing it, actually, Jeremiah is also up there. 29 and 12 for Jeremiah in the meantime against the 23 and 4 Dark Lady. So Keizo on Jeremiah really is maximizing his farm here this game.
I think he has more base damage than Dark Lady. Yeah, he actually has 10 more base damage than Dark Lady. Same items, or as far as damage items. So hitting for 79 max damage, whereas Dark Lady's hitting for 68. So it does make a difference. And you can also use that heal, that Inner Light, which is a massive damage AoE in a small radius to get those creeps effectively when otherwise you could not. So
yeah.
I'm not too surprised about that.
Yeah, and that's, of course, that means KZ will have some very good, solid, at least you would expect, some more support style of items earlier on. And really even beefy as well. We see that all the time. Getting something like an earlier on barrier idol can be very effective for him. So he just kind of sits in the background, and, if he does happen to get jumped, it's tanky, and if he doesn't get bursted down, he uses everything, and before you know it, his team's winning the game. So, yeah, that's just again, just how he works. Slicks is actually using the curry right here. He's kind of just keeping it on top, but no, you finally get delivered and send it back to base. I believe I just saw a Ring of Sorcery purchased on Z-Freak in the meantime, on a Tempest. So, seems like he's actually managed a pretty solid time here, despite the start of him forcing to go to the Hellborn jungle. He's actually farming about 253 gold per minute, and really when you compare that to Ophelia is definitely quite a bit behind to the Tempest, so good news there for Legion team.
And they've tried to gank a little bit with Ophelia. Obviously, she did die. She got denied, but she did lose out on some farm because of that. And Tempest just farms, in my opinion, faster than Ophelia. She really does. So, yeah, Z-Freak doing a pretty good job here early on. Has that Ring of Sorcery at 7 minutes. And even though it has the roam potential from both Glacius and Ophelia, might see a gank attempt up here in the top lane on Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, though, he'll be able to, if you let him get off his abilities, he'll be able to survive. Okay, we see right there, Dark Blade Initiate. There's a Taint Soul Silence, of course, coming out. The Thunder Blast coming out as well. He will have a heal here in a second. Not even necessary. He just tanks the damage, falls back. He health potions, actually. He doesn't even use his Inner Light, and he'll be more than fine. He was also just delivered a Ring of Sorcery, so he's got some good mana pull because of that, and of course some regen. So, yeah, the gank attempt unsuccessful coming out here from Complexity, and Keizo will just go back to freely farming this creep wave now. As a result of that, and he now has 11 more creep kills in Dark Lady. He really is out farming this Dark Lady by quite a bit here.
Yeah, and that was a pretty bad gank attempt. Like, you're going to need your supports, especially Glacius, who doesn't have boots, to start walking before you initiate. And actually, in the meantime, Mirax is in a little bit of trouble. There's the ultimate from Tempest. It's going to catch him. There's a good kelp field from Moonmander as he ports in for some assistance. The ultimate from Beacon's up. He uses this stun. They're going to get a very easy turn onto one hero. Might get the Draconis action. Draconis pumping a lot of damage to Moon, and he will fall. There's the Engineer turret actually pushing him away. It might even saving him just a little bit. The Keg stun does push him away even more. A couple more auto attacks and he'll be dead, but no, he actually double push actually from Engineer. I don't think it would have mattered. Well, he wasn't in range to actually push him back, so he was trying all that he could. So you got to give Skylo some credit right there, but at least he got the kelp field to cancel and save out the Miraxis, who does need the farm more than anyone in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought for sure that was going to be easy cut on Miraxis, but then also that's a little shell surf coming out. I was like, oh, here, turn around chance, and obviously the kelp field happened and at least saved him, as you said, but in the end, Bubbles did fall, so Draconis at least got something out of that, and looks like in the terms of an assist. So good job for Slicks right there, as he's now farming around 276 gold per minute. Going to go into what is a double stack creep jungle here, or jungle camp, I guess, even in the jungle, and farm that out. Jeremiah, in the meantime, now boots picked up for him, and he has already another 570 or so gold saved up himself. So talked about Miraxis. He really needs that farm even more so than anyone right now on the Hellborn side. He's got Steam Boots and Mana Battery. He has another about 1,000 plus gold saved up. So, again, very likely we could see that Portal Key option going to be coming up here for B-Kid playing that Miraxis. And we'll see where he goes from there. But so, good amount of action, so far to start this game. A little bit of back and forth between the two teams. Now, once again, initiation on it. Jerez at the top lane. We do have Glacius running it as well. The silence is doing work right here. Will it be enough? Yes, it will. The silence lasting a little bit too long for Jeremiah, and he was not able to get the heal off.
Yeah, imagine if Glacius was up there from the beginning. Like, how much better this would be. I just feel like this is one of the few games I've actually kind of been thinking that Franzi's not been effective at all. Like, he has ganked right there, but it could have happened a lot earlier on. Like, he roamed in mid, they did nothing. Like, Bubbles would have gotten as much farm as he does right now. He kind of roamed top, he's floated around bottom, helped out with that first blood, and then finally, initiated a kill right there. But if he just sat bottom or sat top, you could have mitigated 56 creep kills from Jeremiah. Like, it maybe would have been cut down to, like, 15 or something, but that's a lot. He has a lot of farm, and you just saw right there. Once you get some good farm early on, it's specifically the Ghost March on the Dark Lady, because you can initiate with those Dark Blades, and obviously he can't cast anything when he's silenced from those Dark Blades. I feel like Glacius would have had a much better time and much more of a purpose sitting in either top lane or bottom lane. The mid lane, which is the one lane I think he should not have gone to, is where he spent most of his time.
Yeah. Well, again, they got the gank, so at least that is the good news for Complexity. Now Jeremiah may be in some more trouble, actually. He's going to protect the turn right before that Dark Blade initiation, though, so that'll save him at least initially. Porta is coming in. Jeremiah should be fine, and yes, he will. Whoever that was porting actually canceled it in the end. So good timing right there from Keizu, actually. If it wasn't for that split-second reaction, he would have probably been dead there once again. So
yeah,
got the charm off and survived. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, we have Tempest, Wretched Hag, and Engineer all pushing the middle lane in. Here come the Elementals and the Replicates, and this should be an easy tower kill. Ophelia's running on nearby, but even with the skeleton minions, not able to deny it. So good job right there for Stay Green. And overall, 2,500 gold lead, 2,000 experience lead right now for our Legion team. So things definitely looking to be in the better for them, and they may commit to even more of a push here. As no, probably not. Wretched Hag just going to get a couple creep kills, and Tempest will already start falling back. So, but a solid push nonetheless coming out for Stay Green once again. And again, overall, things look to be pretty good for them, especially when you look at Slicks. He is the top farm in the game, 342 gold per minute on that Draconis right now. Again, not the friendliest of news here for the Hellborn side.
Yeah, like I said, both teams have really good lineups. Like I keep thinking, like, wow, SG's lineup is really strong. Like you have Jeremiah, these great team fight heroes, good pushing power, strong late game. I'm like, how the hell they're so outmatched? And I look at Complexity, it's like, wow, they have Ophelia, Glacius, Tri-Lane with Meraxis, good initiation from Meraxis. You have Bubbles, you have Dark Lady, Parkade. So they both have great lineups. Just, I think, as you said, it's going to come down to who can outplay the other team.
Yeah. And especially at this level, it's, of course, the best to see, so that's going to be good. Port to the top lane, it looks like, from Engineer actually coming out to deny the tower. So there was some pressure being put up from the Hellborn side. Not able to get the tower kill, though. Solid deny coming out in favor of actually Swinnemelons right there, as he's the one to get the deny on the tower. So Dark Lady, in the meantime, however, her farm is definitely picking up too, though. She's now up to 315 gold per minute. As those Ghost Marches bringing the Teacher Life to purchase, so sustaining in the near works. And then going off from there, going to try to jump Swinnemelons, but he blinks away just before the silence hits him. And he'll be fine as a result of that. So yeah, Dark Lady not afraid to play aggressive. She actually just picks up her Mana 2 to finish the Sustainer. But more importantly, Meraxis just actually got his portal key here, and it has not been shown just yet. They're going to go for a gank, perhaps on this Ophelia, or excuse me, Tempest even. But Tempest is a little bit too far away. Tempest playing very smart right there. He knew something was up. Okay, I guess they do have a ward set up here, so that makes a lot more sense. Well, here we go. The jump is still going to happen. The cut, but on top of Meraxis jump. The protector tower coming out. The Tempest ultimate. And here's that turnaround chance. Soul's blessing even going to be used right there. Meraxis now dropping quickly. Heal bomb coming out. He's being chased down. He does not have support coming. Matrix going to explode right there, but a little bit more damage, and he will fall. Tempest trying to get a stun right there, but no. Portal key away from Meraxis, and he will survive, actually. So, in the end, they only get the one kill to turn around. But at least Tempest stayed alive.
Could have been way worse. It could have definitely been way worse. Meraxis is pretty damn tanky. And good support, good. I mean, you see right there the turn potential. If you don't burst someone down with Jeremiah in the lineup, and it's only going to get worse. It really is. You're going to have a Nullstone up pretty close, or pretty soon here, I should say, on Slicks. He's got the Blessed Orb now, just needs another 900 gold or so. And that's pretty damn early. And you mentioned, once you get that Protector Charm off too, there is absolutely nothing you can do to cancel it. Like, you can get a Nullfire Blade, you're going to have to get two to cancel it.
Yep. So clearly going to be troublesome here for Complexity, and again a great turnaround indeed for them. So good getaway from Beacon on the Meraxis, but still the damage definitely done. In fact, looking back again at Draconis, yeah, that Nullstone is getting very, very close now, dangerously close to being finished here.
Yep.
For him. So middle lane, Engineer in a lot of trouble actually. A good Ophelia army coming in here. Will it even be enough for the kill though? No, it will not. So despite getting all the CC off between the two Skeleton Kings and the Minotaurs, not enough for the kill for Chessie. And Jeremiah ports in, and, well, he heals up Engineer, and just like that, Engineer's going to now stack these Ancients now. So
yeah, I think it's for that reason how you like to see him, or at least Chessie probably prefers the double Minotaur to one Skeleton King ratio rather than the two Skeleton Kings. The double lockdown is great, but they don't stun you, so you can obviously cast your spells still and whatnot. So.
Yep. Yeah, that's that perhaps what could have been a kill if it was for a double Minotaur instead. But in the end, no kill, and he is fine. Like I said, he even triple stacked the Ancients for his team. Did Skyzo. Playing that Engineer at the bottom lane, the tower is being pressured, but it looks like Complexity will start falling back. Elementals are coming in, and Bubbles realizing This is now a time where they need to start falling back, perhaps. Morax is also going to start looking to get away, despite even having that portal key, and that's probably the correct decision, because Complexity does have 4 of their 5 players here, including that Jeremiah, Draconis, and Tempest. Engineer also joining the party, so get them to fall back, and they'll do some counter-pushing themselves. Swindlemelons, in the meantime, on Wretched Hag. She's busy farming up the top lane, more so protecting as well from Dark Lady, who does have another 1,200 gold saved up, so that Rune Cleaver is definitely in the works here. So he's farming now overall 330 gold per minute on Haxer and playing this Dark Lady, so
Yep.
Rune Cleaver, of course, very powerful. Chessie is actually stacking the jungle a little bit for eventually the Rune Cleaver pickup, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
doing a little bit of stacking for the team.
Yeah, definitely triple stack Ancients, is that right? Yeah, triple stack
Yep.
Ancients. It's going to be good for him. And Dark Lady was one of those heroes that just explodes in farm once she gets that Rune Cleaver. And she's going to have that in about 1,000 gold or so.
Yeah.
So that'll be good for her. Not exactly the fastest, but not exactly the slowest either.
No. Pretty solid rate here. Morax is going to take some stuns from Tempest, but in the end, he will be more than fine. He just falls back and nothing too serious. Okay, I saw something. What is on the courier? Okay, the Nullstone recipe. Nullstone recipe being delivered to Draconis right here, so he has that now finished. Dragon Flame going to come out right there. Not really hitting anybody, though, I believe. Invulnerability at the last second on the tower, and so this could be very close to a deny. Double's going to go for it, but no Slicks on Draconis gets in. He actually had the Cataclysmic Assault activated, so he was really just using it for the attack speed right there.
Yeah.
And, hell, it helped him get the tower kill, so good job. And actually, they're going to commit to more of a push even. Now, their middle tower does go down as the Ophelia minions assist with that, so good news for Complexity. And that will get the lead to... Oh, but they're going to steal triple stack Ancients here. They don't get every single Ancient, but they get a lot of them. And that really does suck for the Hellborn team. Now go jump in with the kill. There's an initiative on Jeremiah. Can they burst him down? Yes, they can. Jeremiah will fall. Draconis starting back with the blazing fight. Darkly now being in a lot of trouble. She's going to be locked down, and she eventually will be killed. However, Chessie from behind trying to finish off Tempest. A nice snipe out from P-Kid. Gets that kill with the axe right there. Wretched Egg blinking away, and the damage already done.
Not a very favorable blink. If he has a Skeleton King minion up ready with that entangle, oh, that was so damn close. That was not a very good blink, but
No.
I thought that was going to be a bad situation. You did lose your Dark Lady. Draconis did not die. But, you know, Haxton, he had to go in there. You cannot risk trying to burst down a Jeremiah, and if you don't get him, it's just you lose. You lose the fight.
You have to commit.
So Dark Lady absolutely had to commit. It kind of put him in a bad situation the way that they initiated that fight. I don't really think that Moon should have initiated like that. He only got one person at the kill field, and like I said, Dark Lady felt forced to go. So it kind of looked like a bad initiation from Haxton, but it really wasn't. He just had to make that decision. Now they did have somewhat of a good trade right there. I believe it was a 2-for-1, Keizu and Z-Freak for Haxton, but it was Haxton who is your late game carry.
But well, that, and then you also got to remember. I mean, they also cleaned up a good amount of the Ancients. What was a triple stack before that? That fight just happened. It did stay green, that is.
Yeah.
And now they're also doing their own triple stack Ancients. So look at Draconis' farm now. I mean, it is now 445 gold per minute.
Right.
So it was impressive before. Now even that much more impressive. So that's where I think it's really scary after what just happened there for Complexity. So you have Draconis. I mean, he actually just purchased something else. It looks like it is, well, I guess the Warhammer is his. Yeah, the Warhammer is his, so he is on his way to, again, I would assume that to be a Shrunken Head, but...
I think it'll be just a friggin' Savage Mace.
Yeah, you do have a...
It could be like...
Jeremiah,
yeah, you have a Jeremiah, you just do massive damage, and I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, it still could be a Shrunken Head, which is a safer route, and then you can add the Protective Charm to someone like Wretched Hag.
Tempest, Hag, yeah.
Yeah, or Tempest, yeah, so it might free up that Protective Charm a bit, but we see some action up top. At least he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
He's going to die right. Oh, no, he'll barely survive. Wow, the Glacial Dam are going to be as they turn around on a Wretched Hag. Draconis being turned. Here comes Tempest. He doesn't have an ultimate. He's going to lock down Dark Lady, pull him through the energy field. He's going to get a full duration right here. Draconis holding his ground. Dark Lady forced to fall back. Here comes Jeremiah. He has a Soul Blessing ready to go. Will he get it up for him? No, he will not. The explosion happens, and Draconis will fall. Jeremiah now on the right. He couldn't even get off his charm right there. So big kill on Draconis, locking down Jeremiah. He's now being chased. Axe will hit. And they're still going to chase. Jeremiah, Protective Charm. It's not the biggest duration right now. Oh, okay, it is level 4. Never mind. So it is going to be on for a while. Moraxis is ready to go as soon as that wears off. It's full duration, though, off in 1 second. There we go. Here's the jump. There's the Quake Stun. And there's the follow-up from Moomianer, and Jeremiah will fall. Great chase. And actually, the Skeleton King catching Engineer. Engineer's not a lot of trouble. The Kegstone will push him away, though. And I believe Skyza will survive when it's all said and done. Meanwhile, from behind, Wretched Hag actually coming back in. She will get the kill on Moraxis. Swindlemelons didn't even buy back. That was just simply a resurrection right there. And now he's going to chase us. Bubbles here. Bubbles trying to get away. He already shell supported, of course. And yes, he will fall too. So double tap for Swindlemelons. And I got to think the Grave Locket actually did a lot right there for him. allowing him to resurrect that early.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, you know? That's a really good point about exactly seeing, you know, its effect in the game and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, you could argue that, you know, it's going to be fancy. Let's get this kill on Jerizaiya right after that Protective Charm. But I don't know if that was really worth it. Like, killing Jerizaiya at this point is not that effective unless it's right before a team fight.
Yeah.
He's already got his core items. He doesn't. Everything after this is pretty much a luxury. Like, he's just going to build himself up a little bit more tanky than maybe buy a Storm Spirit if you can afford it. But, yeah, that kill really wasn't worth it. You didn't need to die like that. It was fun to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the lead is really not there. It's pretty much a dead-even game right now. Pretty action-packed. 16 kills so far, 21-minute mark. Hellflower's in the works for Meraxis.
Well, remember how that all started, too? I mean, Franzi was the one that got jumped up. Now, I want to say you could also look at that, and I think Slicks did get a little bit too cocky there. I mean, he was diving onto a Glacius. He really wanted to commit to the kill at the tower with Wretched Hag, but you could tell even Hag was a little bit timid. She started falling back, but then the response happened, and that's where they really got screwed up. So I think a little bit of overcommitment there onto Glacius, and then they almost got to turn around onto Darkly, but Darkly barely survived. Despite getting fully channeled in that Tempest ultimate, and that was a big deal. I mean, because you said both the gold and experience, so sure, the gold is about 1,000 lead now, still in favor of SG, but it's very, very minimal at this point. But you look at Darkly's individual farm all of a sudden. She has actually caught up to Draconis, and she was basically about 100 gold per minute behind before that fight, so or just before that fight. So that really shows right there exactly what just happened. And oh, Darkly again, she's pretty much caught up now with Draconis, and with that Rune Cleaver, it will start to take off. I mean, she's on her way already. To what could be her own Shrunken Head. And of course, Abyssal Skull, something pretty popular on her too, so I kind of wonder if Haxorin's going to go that route too. But, well, we got a game here. We definitely got a fun game, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Ophelia has her core items as her Astrolabe and her Ring of Sorcery. Normally we like to see, or at least I see Chessie go for that Plate of Grieve onto Ophelia, but yeah, pretty much standard stuff right now. Could see a little more passive farming. Oh, not actually, pardon that thought, is Haxorin's in the, or no, Swindlemelon's in a lot of trouble. More auto attack, can he get it? Yes, he can. Swindlemelon does fall to the solo Darkly, but now Swindlemelon's, or not, no, actually Haxorin, a little bit of trouble. Kegstun is a little off the mark, and Haxorin will be fine. So a great solo kill coming out for Darkly.
Oh, man, he committed to that big time, but it worked out in the end. Boy, oh boy, I'm surprised. I mean, you would think, okay, Swindlemelon was kind of sitting there in the background. I mean, it didn't seem like there was any jump chance, and that's why I don't blame him at all for being there. But Darkly all of a sudden charged in with the Charging Strikes, had the Dark Blades activated, of course, Chain silenced him, and then just barely did enough damage to get the kill and then get out of there before he got turned on. So doing the math correctly and worked out right there for Haxorin. It's a big kill indeed, and what was already, again, very impressive just gold per minute now. Obviously that even helping more, and he has actually surpassed Draconis now.
Yeah.
As gold per minute goes. So really ridiculous farm here all of a sudden for Haxorin.
And by 2 levels as well.
Yeah, he's level 16, get rid of 14. Yeah, that's actually really huge, especially for more so for Draconis, because I think the ultimate even impacts him more once he gets level 3 ulti. But bottom tower going down in favor of complexity as well, so yeah, really complexity. In fact, you look at the golden experience now all of a sudden, it's actually in their favor by a solid amount here.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just a second ago it was like even, dead even. Now 5,000 just right off the bat. I was going to say that the biggest thing with that solo kill is the experience that you get. And now you have a Shrunken Head up on the Dark Lady. That's going to mitigate pretty much everything except for the Tempest ultimate. That's the only thing that he can't stop with that. They're going to trade the top tower for what looks like to be Congor. Now there are no wards to sight giving any kind of vision or indication to Stay Green that this is going on.
Yeah.
They might have an idea since they're getting this top tower for free, or they might just start pushing that and thinking, okay, Complexity wants to give this up. They'll fight at the tier 2 tower. Once they start putting some damage into this and see no resistance, they'll probably have a good idea that Congor is going to take it. But look at how fast it dropped.
Or the message is going to pop up like right now. So. Oh, Ophelia actually. Okay. Oops. Yeah, they didn't time that correctly. They were trying to be fancy right there, and Ophelia ported back Darkly, figuring that she would get the Token of Life and then port back, but she did not get the Token of Life, and that's kind of a big deal. I mean,
I would leave it and go fight.
Yeah, because do you fight? Okay, he's going to go get it, though, but you're right. Now, this is just buying more time for Stay Green. That was an interesting choice.
Man. God. That was a little bit sloppy, but...
Yeah. Okay, in the end, it's not going to be the biggest deal, it looks like.
Yeah.
But... that could have gotten pretty ugly for them if obviously Stay Green, they can't see what we see. So,
right.
They had no clue that happened, but that could have been dangerous. But in the end, I don't think it was the biggest deal. He just goes back to farming, in fact, and going to clean up now some double stack Ancients here. So good idea, I mean, I guess, but
yeah, that was just silly. Just let him wait. It's going to save you what, 1 more second.
Yeah, if that.
So. They try to make it really fancy to get it right when he picks up the token. But it just was
I really wonder what the vet was like for them, whatever they. It's like, guys,
what are you doing?
totally didn't pick it up. Ooh, BK might be in a little bit of trouble. He's still up here, and there's all 5 here from the Legion team. Okay, no. Maybe trying to get Slicks to bait, but you got to figure if you're Complexity that Draconis isn't just sitting up here by himself farming, so. Granted it is Slicks.
Double damage rune is up and ready to go for Haxer, and he has that bottled as well as the token life, as well as the shrunken head. He's got everything he wants to in fighting this. And I will say that Dark Lady's so good in team fights because of that ultimate. If one team initiates, you throw the cover of darkness on the rest of the heroes behind him. They have no idea what's going on. That one hero that initiated that had a good idea is now segregated from the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Stay Green, after seeing that bottle with the double damage up on the Dark Lady, they're not going to have any place in fighting this, as you see Slicks TP to the bottom lane to farm that.
Yeah, no thank you. We'll gladly retreat, and yeah, probably a smart choice right there. In fact, Ophelia had her minions down at the bottom lane. One of them actually gets picked off by Draconis, so he'll just push back this lane, however. And so, again, I keep going back to the GPM tab, and Dark Lady is still pulling even further ahead now of Slicks here on Draconis. But on top of that, the supporting cast. You look at Moraxis, how much further he is ahead than, say, that wretched Hagenex online. I mean, he's at 340 gold per minute himself, and then you even got a Bubbles and Ophelia, some solid farm going on. So it just seems like overall things are now looking a little bit better in favor of Complexity with where this game is at. So good news for them. But Stay Green, of course, being down 1-0 in the end as well. They are trying to force what would be a third and final game. Draconis is level 16 now, so of course that level 3 Cataclysmic Assault. Very powerful, more attack speed, a lesser cooldown, or it's down to 30-second cooldown now as well because of that, so does quite a bit. So leveling that up, of course. Top, and they're going to try to maybe catch somebody. Double damage rune is activated on Dark Lady right now. Oh, Wretched Hag, you need to be careful. Okay.
Oh yeah, I thought she was blinking in. I was
Yeah.
like, what? Well, it blinks away. Bubbles is also there, ready with a portal key of his own. And has a bound die up as well, so yeah, wow, that Dark Lady with double damage would just absolutely pummel through Wretched Hag's HP. And but they're going to fall back, they're going to play a little bit more passive game and just kind of farm up things. Use that Token of Life, like I mentioned, at the most optimal time, which is right around actually now to like 2 minutes, a minute and a half on the Token of Life, so that you can fight if things go wrong. Well, especially when you're Hellborn, if things go wrong, you can just go back and get that Aegis, or that Token of Life once again once Congor respawns in 3 minutes after that.
Hellflower and Moraxis. I heard those were always very nice to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Especially, well, actually, Moraxis, or sorry, you have the Null, I can't speak today, Nullstone up on Draconis, so you're going to take a little bit more oomph to actually get that Hellflower through to him. So it's going to be like something from, it has to be like the Taint Soul from Haxer
Taint
first.
Soul or Ophelia somehow get a nuke off. Yeah, something like that.
The Taint Soul is actually really good for taking off Nullstones because it's such a long range.
Long range, short cooldown, low mana cost. Yeah, it really is the perfect ability.
It is.
When you think about it, as far as removing Nullstones. But then on top of that, you got to also keep in mind, you know, well, if you're Jerizai, you could just easily apply the Protective Charm to Draconis. Granted, in this case, I think with the circumstances right now, you probably want to put it on Tempest here for now, going into those team fights. As far as their Protective Charm goes, and actually speaking of Jerizai, Keizu had an amazing start this game when it came to farm. Now, he really has dwindled off. He's only at 213 gold per minute. You made the point earlier, he had his core item, so it was not the biggest deal, I guess. And at this point, it's kind of more luxury. He did just finish his Shaman's Headdress, so again, working towards a barrier idol, but farm has gone away quite a bit. Complexity, though, group it up as 5. They are going to mass push this bottom lane. Stay Green trying to respond with the push up top, but they're pretty far behind compared to Complexity. So it's going to be interesting what kind of decision we see here. It looks like Complexity, instead of committing to base, they are going to look to fall back here.
Yeah, they do have, well, I mean, they do have the Token of Life, but pushing into the high ground when you have a, you know, you're playing up against the Tempest Ultimate and Jerizai might not be the smartest thing, because like I talk about, when you're initiating fights, you need to find Jerizai, and when you're going into the base, it's much more difficult to do that. So they should defend this. I don't know why they don't want to defend that. I mean, they do have the Token of Life, but big deal. You can just wait another 3 minutes and get another one.
Bubbles doesn't have a TP, neither does Ophelia.
Okay,
so
that might be the reason why.
Yeah.
So
that
you should have TPs.
Yeah.
I don't know. At this stage of the game, why don't you have TPs? And there's actually one delivered for Bubbles. Ophelia doesn't have one, and they're in a spot that...
Yeah, I think that might have been the big thing right there. I mean, because obviously they would only be able to have 3 people. I guess they could have ported back bubbles with Ophelia, but they do actually get the middle tower as well. So Complexity didn't like just sit back by any means and do nothing. So they did at least get something there. But
like I said all the time, there's no point in trading when you're up. Like they should know by this time they're up. I heard a Hellflower.
That was an illusion. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you should be fighting. You should be defending when you have the token of life, and there's just no reason to trade like that. And that's what the other team wants. If you're like, well, we're down, we can't defend, might as well get something out of it. A 1-for-1 exchange as far as towers goes, that's optimal for the team that's down. Not optimal for the team that's up.
Look at this word aside here by Franz. You actually got the Legion Ancients. I'm guessing that blocks the spawn of the Ancients here.
Yes.
So, yeah, Franzi being
and
crafty with that.
Has one as well in the other Ancients.
Yeah, you've talked about this, recently, how, it's just these things that can add up, and, why not? You see Engineer right here. Well, he's acting like he's maybe going to stack up, but of course there's nothing there, and obviously they won't spawn, so neither team going to do Ancients right now.
Yep.
And I'm sure that'll catch them, and Skyzo's probably like, okay, something's wrong, guys.
Well, they do have the bounty up on Jerizaiah. They're probably going to use that courier to spot something out. Haxron has that token of life for how much longer? 2 seconds, so he's going to walk away.
Yeah.
And wait another day to fight, probably another 3 minutes after they get that next token of life for Congor.
Or at least try for it. He does have a Frostburn picked up, actually, so you just finished that item, and then you do have... So Draconis, by the way, he actually did end up finishing a Shrunken Head, and now he is working towards a... Does he have it? Yes, he does. He has a Savage Mace, so I was going to say, I thought I saw him purchase one Warhammer, and there's a second one, so... Savage Mace finished on Draconis. He has the Trio Core, I don't even necessarily need to say core, I guess, but more so just the trio of items that, well, it just makes Draconis deadly. And when you add in the fact that he has a Jerizaiah teammate on top, of course, this great team fight with a Hag, a Tempest, an Engineer, and it's scary. So despite Complexity being in the stat lead, 5,000 gold lead, 7,000
anything could happen.
It really, exactly, anything can happen with where this game is at right now. So.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. Anything can happen. Bubbles has a Void Talisman. I don't know if I really think that that's appropriate. I mean, it's going to help you against the auto attacks from Draconis, but you can just run away. Like, you can just use your abilities, take cover, your Blink, your Shell Surf to just get away. So, it's not like its attacks lock you down. Like a Frostburn from Dark Lady. Those attacks lock you down. They snare you, they slow you. It's difficult to get away. For Draconis, it just kind of he just attacks you and does lots of damage, but it doesn't really lock you down. If anything, he pushes you away with this Q spell. So I would have preferred to see a much more late game item on Bubbles, like a Hellflower or a Sheep Stick. But not to say that's like the worst pickup in the world, but I just don't think it's really necessary right now. Also, not to mention, you have a Hellflower on the Wretched Hag, and if they do initiate in Bubbles, obviously that Void Talisman is kind of useless, as is any item, but still.
Yeah. I mean, and again, you can never forget either as well. There's the downside of also Void Talisman. It does reduce your magic armor by quite a bit. So
that's right.
There's some good amount of magic damage on this Legion team. So yeah, it's a risky item in that sense, and you can question whether or not the 1,500 gold invested into that really is the best priority. But he has it nonetheless. Storm Spirit, of course, on Ophelia. Speaking of newer item pickup, so of course. Very powerful combo there. The port back on top of the Storm Spirit could save some teammates. Moraxis has a Mighty Blade actually picked up. So possibly a Shrunken Head, I guess, for himself. Yeah. Going to be happening here. And
probably will be.
That's where... sorry, I thought we had initiation right here, but go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say it probably will be just simply so you can blink into that Engineer ultimate, not worry about getting silenced or perplexed or anything like that. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so Ophelia only has one Skeleton King, by the way, right now. So she does not have, usually it seems like we see two, especially in a case like this. But so Chessie does have the one Skeleton King. Going to try to deny right there, but the Legion team will get credit for the middle tower kill. And I believe I saw Jerizaiah apply the Protective Charm to Tempest right there, possibly going into that fight. So again, something to keep in mind. You made the point earlier where you basically only have a Skeleton King that you can rely on to lock down Tempest if he does happen to start channeling that ultimate with a Protective Charm. So keep that in mind. Moraxis still farming this bottom lane. He'll need to port, and he probably is going to right here, but he needs to do it very shortly. Oh, we see the portal key from Tempest, but it was just a little bit too far away. He's going to comment right there, but it's, it is going to be enough. There's a Clay Shell Blast, and Beak is in a lot of hurt right now. He's going to activate the Matrix, but more than likely he will fall. Energy field coming out right there. I mean, he is damn tanky, that's for sure. but it's just going to be too much in the end. Even he uses his, well, he gets some mana back, but
that's not a very typical Beacon kind of move.
yeah.
Like getting caught out like that. And he doesn't, he bought something. I think he bought right before he died, so he's not going to have buyout. And that's, I guess, a good thing and a bad thing. They're not going to be able to fight from their 60 seconds. And I don't think they want to. I don't think he wants to buy out anyway. So
yeah.
I believe he did purchase this Shrunken. I don't know how, yeah, it's on the courier. So he does have that to work with, at least. But yeah, that's a very atypical Beacon right there.
That's why I said, you know, I saw it coming. I was like, I figured he's going to portal key any second. But no, he stood there, and sure enough, he got caught out. So yeah, all right. That is not usual Beacon play right there. But in the end, he gets picked off, and Stay Green will definitely get a tower. But this is what Complexity does. They are very good at doing this at the same time, where they take advantage of, not necessarily advantage, but they make the best of situations like that, and they do kind of counter push in the meantime. So at least they do get a tower kill, and let's see, possible Congor attempt, but you do look at the ward sides by both teams actually in the Congor pit.
Yeah,
that Franzi in the uphill.
Oh, lots of TPs coming out. Moon has a blink. He needs to be very, very careful right here. No, that was yeah. He just needed a blink away.
Yeah.
I don't know why, and actually he loses the bound die as a result as well. So
why did he not portal key? What was he trying to do?
I don't know.
I don't get that.
So unfortunately, he dies right there. I think the bigger thing right there though is just they lost the bound die. So that's another 700 gold that.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be invested in yet again.
I'm just so baffled. I mean, it must have been on cooldown?
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
it wasn't.
So he had it up. Troy just shell served first. I mean, he also take covered before even casting the shell serve. So I get maybe he just simply got panicked. That was just very odd right there. Anyways, so
see, what you could have done is like blinked, use your shell serve, take cover, then it's basically 2 blinks.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to do the opposite, so take cover, the shell serve, take cover first, but
just got mixed up somehow. Yeah. Well, Congor being attempted now. Bubbles is still dead for another 7 seconds here, so some timing for SG, but I don't think it's going to really happen in the end. It is just Draconis right now there in the pit. Wow, Draconis has Rift Shards, by the way.
Yeah.
I know some red numbers, but I'm like, where's that coming from? Oh, that makes sense. So level 1 Rift Shards.
Hag is hiding up here. I actually don't think he can be spotted with the way that ward is placed.
Oh, jump in on the Jeremiah. Actually, that's exactly what they want. Jeremiah will be killed right off the bat. And a perfect start for Complexity. Cataclysmic Assault. The Tempest Ultimate in the background. Will it be enough? Cataclysmic Assault doing so much damage. Brachiodac jumps in. Darkney's still alive, though. Shield Trading strikes away. In the meantime, Moraxis in the background trying to do work. He's waiting for the time to portal key back in. He's going to go in soon right here. Not just yet. Glacius will fall. Will Moraxis go back in? No, he will not. He'll portal key away instead. Bubbles will also fall back. And in the end, they got Jeremiah killed, but still, Stay Green. They come out on top of that fight. So the Tempest Ultimate on top of Draconis still did a lot of work right there.
It was the Tempest Ultimate, all Tempest Ultimate. Good job by Z-Freak finding that opening. And at the same time, I didn't see if Chessie actually had any Skeleton Kings ready, but if he did, they were all clumped up on top of him.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I wasn't 100% sure if he had one, but, oh, actually, Stay Green's going to back off. And this might be a sniped Congor attempt. It's dropping very, very low, and it will die. So, yeah, good job by Complexity by sniping that out.
Yeah, that's a very good heads up. There was even a ward of sight literally sitting right on top of Congor, so Stay Green knew from the beginning that was happening, but they just couldn't react in time. Their top lane was getting pushed in. They were already falling back, and Complexity really took advantage right there. So that's some good news there, despite that fight not going as well as they were hoping for, I'm sure. Again, they got the beautiful jump on Casey. That was huge. That's exactly what you want if you're Complexity, but as you put it, Z-Freak did a good job, just even a better job of getting the Tempest Ultimate off and locking up at least the initial fight for them. But still in that Congor, I think you can say Complexity, when it's all said and done, is in the better spot ultimately after that.
I was going to say, okay, Savage Mace picked up in full by Dark Lady. I was going to say, right now with the Token of Life up on her, they should just group up push right now. Force it right now. They know the Tempest Ultimate's on cooldown, and there's nothing that they can do without the Tempest Ultimate. They initiate on Jeremiah. Well, what did we see last time? They initiated on Jeremiah, great, you got the kill, but Tempest came in with a huge ultimate. The same is not going to be true for this team fight, and it's a good job at Complexity knowing that information and pushing out right now, forcing the issue, and pushing into the high ground.
Ooh, Jeremiah actually going for a Void Talisman himself, actually, here. Instead of, say, finishing the Barrier out, or even going a Storm Spear route. Kind of curious about that one, too, but we do have a jump in from Wretched Hag, and there we go. But the counter jump from Tarkin, it was an illusion right there. Wretched Hag's going to be super bursted down, energy field in the foreground. Wretched Hag will be fine. Soul's Blessing going to be used. Draconis with the Cataclysmic Assault doing a lot of damage once again. Darkney is still alive, but there's a Void Talisman activated from Jeremiah, and he'll be fine. Charging strikes out. Did anybody die? Okay, Engineer's the only one to die there. in that fight, unless we had buybacks. I don't believe we did,
No.
though. So, Engineer, the only ones to die. Back into the fight we go. This tower's going to start dropping again. Tempest Ultimate still down for 40 seconds. More importantly, though, perhaps, Jeremiah's Soul's Blessing is even down, so they do not get that. Oh, what a burst down, but at what cost right there? Wretched Egg will fall, and Dark Lady comes right back up. Look at the Cataclysmic Assault doing so much damage, but Dark Lady jumps in, tears apart Tempest right there. Draconis doing a lot of damage, though. Storm Spear going to be used, and Dark Lady needs to get away. Charging strikes in 1 second, not going to crit right there, and Dark Lady will survive. Man, Draconis really doing a lot of damage with those Rift Shards. But in the end, so I don't know. I mean, they didn't even get the tower. That
is still fine. They won a lot of experience in gold right there.
Okay.
They did lose the Token of Life, which is kind of crappy, but they're still in a better position after that. Tempest, he is going to have his Elemental Void as ultimate here for the next fight. The biggest thing, Hag jumped in and got bursted out. Has a new freshly purchased Shrunken Head, didn't use it. And that, I think, was a big reason why they didn't win that fight as handily as they wanted to.
Yeah.
Obviously Tempest got gone on, couldn't do anything about that. And yeah, but I think the biggest thing is you buy a Shrunken Head, you didn't use it. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's 3,900 gold right there, and then to not have it activated, it does suck. But level 4 Rift Shards now finish on Draconis, and we've already seen the damage output that this guy will do with those Rift Shards. Now with those level 4, I mean, he is going to be hitting very, very hard in that radius with the Cataclysmic Assault. So again, even though the stats have grown a little bit more for complexity, you still have to look at this SG lineup and not feel that they're out of it by any means yet. So
oh, yeah, absolutely.
they can easily win a team fight. They have their cooldowns ready to go. In fact, shortly, Soul's Blessing still down for another 30 seconds. But especially when they have their big cooldowns up, this is a game that they will never be 100% lost. That's for sure. So,
yeah, speaking of item pickups, I actually think Rift Shards is a little bit better on Dark Lady than Savage Mace. I think that the crit synergizes a lot better, especially when you give yourself so much damage from those Dark Blades. I've never been a big fan of Savage Mace on the Dark Lady, but to each their own. It is still a very effective tool, and if maybe he was thinking that Draconis was going to go for a Wingo or something like that, it would be a good counter. It's like a preemptive counter, so to speak. But I usually never see Wingo picked up on Draconis. Usually it's something like this, and then like a Geometer's Bane after that.
Yeah. So, and now Dark Lady does have another 2,500 gold saved up. Granted, no buybacks have been used, actually. I'm a little bit surprised at that. Now, 42 minutes in, you figure by now, especially with some good action we've had, I mean, we'd at least have a couple of buybacks, but no buybacks from either team have actually been used just yet. So, keeping that in mind, full to go for both sides, of course, and always got to keep in mind the amount of gold you have pulled up at, especially at this point. Of course, Congor. So they really did push right there, as you were saying, right after the Congor kill. So, Congor's probably not going to be up for a good amount of time now. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe 5-6 minutes or so before he'll be resurrecting. But also you have Dark Lady's level 24, by the way. So her farm is really impressive, but also being level 24 on top of that. 702 experience per minute, geez. So obviously at a point now, both teams really going to start sticking together for the most part, and being weary of not getting caught out here on either side. So that's going to be the name of the game at this time.
Yeah, complexity has to play it a little bit slow now that Tempest has that ultimate up, and you have to be looking to pick off a hero like maybe Hag or Tempest or what have you before you actually push in the base, or just keep farming up until Congor respawns. Use that Hellboard advantage, well, to your advantage. So, or Hellboard position to your advantage, I should say. Now, Dark Lady, yeah, she is level 24. And if you look at the experience per minute chart, she's actually way up there. And I was going to mention, actually, yeah, this is the thing that Slicks does. He always goes for some interesting item builds. We might see initiation here by the top lane, though.
Here we go. Tempest, a Wretched Egg jumping in. There's Engineer in the background. Anyways, the Cataclysmic Assault is activated. The Tempest ultimate locking down Dark Lady, and Dark Lady will fall right there. The crit's coming out for Draconis, exactly working as they wanted to. 4-stay green. They get the Cone of Dark Lady. Glacius falling. Bathos hitting nobody right there. But the Kegson hitting Moraxis. Glacius also being bursted down. He'll eventually fall. Moraxis is able to get away, it looks like, as he got ported back to base by Ophelia. But still, the damage definitely done. Now, Dark Lady does buy back, so she is good to go if they get committed to another fight. But they're not going to get committed, it looks like. Legion team will fall back instead and go back to farming once again. So, big pick there.
That was a very wasted buyout right there. Like, very wasted. They had everyone... Like, Glacius died. You could have maybe baited it out, like baiting them pushing. They already used the Tempest ultimate. They could have actually taken a huge fight right there had Haxon just waited on the buyout. And I feel like they would have kept pushing. I really do. They did blow out some huge cooldowns, but their thinking would have been, I guarantee this, well, Dark Lady could have a buyout. Well, let's just push and bait it out. Well, if you're really smart and catch them with like a kelp field or something, they can't get away. Like, they can try to bait a buyout, but then they get caught with a kelp field or something if Moon's really good, and like right on his game with that kelp field, or Miraxis jumps in with a stun, whatnot. So that was a very, very early buyout from Haxorud.
Now, you mentioned the interesting item build from Slicks going into that fight. He did purchase a Soul's Bulwark going into that fight, so I assume that's obviously what you're talking about.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love Demonic Breastplate. And Slicks he's always been a big fan of that item. And what do you know? Actually, we see all members of Complexity grouping up. They know that the key factor of these fights is not necessarily Jared's Eye, it's the Tempest ultimate, because they have nothing to counter it except for a Skeleton King, which they don't have.
Here we go once again. A lot of Sugar Nets being used energy field going off the Storm Spirit onto Dark Lady, keeping her alive for now. She'll start running away. Has to run through the energy field, though, taking a lot of damage. The crits are coming out. Draconis will finish her off once again. We see the jump in from Moraxis. They're going to counter right here on Engineer, maybe. Maybe Wretched Ag. No, they're not. Wretched, yes, she will go down. Engineer will portal key away, and he'll be fine for now. Tempest now being chased down. Keg's going to push Moraxis even further back, and as a result, they'll all stay alive. So Wretched Egg is still dead. She cannot buy back, actually, and neither can Dark Lady for that matter. Bubbles will snipe out a kill, though. He'll pick up a Bound Eye as a result. Draconis is chasing, but actually Bubbles will shell surf out before too much damage done to him. So Dark Lady killed again here. Now they still were able to get something out of it. They at least got the tower finish and a couple kills themselves. But again, Complexity will be falling back, it looks like.
Yeah, I think I think Dark Lady's positioning is just kind of a little bit weird. He is getting picked off. He's great Storm Spirit, but of course one of the bad things about Storm Spirit, or I should say the things that they did nerf about it, is that when you come down, you cannot use your items for, was it 0.5 seconds or 1 second? Okay, well, it seems like not very much time, but it's a huge time in those team fights when you have people waiting for you to jump down from that Storm Spirit just to kill you. And as a result, right when he jumped down, he couldn't activate it, got pushed through the energy field from Engineer from Draconis', what's that, Dragon Flame ability called? Yeah. And then obviously got silenced because of that. Then Hag blinked in, used a Sonar Scream, and got him killed that way. So it was just a number of horrible things happening for Dark Lady, even though you have that Storm Spirit up on Ophelia.
Well, on top of all that I mean, Draconis really is doing so much. Wow. This is the first time I'm looking at the damage chart this game.
Yeah.
29% for Draconis. He's easily in first place in this game. I mean, I guess, again, I'm not too surprised by that, but wow. Still is impressive seeing that. He's the Cataclysmic Assault with the Rift Shards, with the items that he has overall. He really is tearing them a new one, and I think Dark Lady is also falling very, very vulnerable to that, of course. And that's where I think something like Lifesteal might have been a better choice here for Dark Lady rather than the Frostburn. I mean, obviously that's looking in hindsight now, way back to the beginning of this game, but definitely Lifesteal could have been very valuable here.
Well,
could still be for them.
They do have the Abyssal Skull up onto Ophelia. She's had that for some time now.
True.
So that's going to be good for him. And I think Frostburn is very, very core on Dark Lady because you have no other way to. I mean, you have the Taint Soul, but through Shrunken Heads, that extra snare from Frostburn does help you actually get kills and catch up to people, where otherwise you just jump in there and then you do damage, but then they just run away from you. So I still think it's necessary. You could at this point split it up into something like Geometer's Blade plus Frostwolf Skull, just to get some more oomph out of it. But again, I still feel like the Savage Mace is just not the optimal pickup here. I really would have preferred to see the Rift Shards on Dark Lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, Demonic Breastplate purchased. Now it's all fully up for Draconis. My God, is he going to be a force to reckon with.
Remember, he doesn't have any buyback money now as a result of this, but does that matter? Maybe not. I mean, he really is a force to reckon with, as you put it. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Bubbles.
Moon's kind of caught right here.
In trouble. Okay,
oh my God. He's almost spotted by that ward of sight there in Congor too. Woo, that could have been really bad for Complexity.
His portal key was on cooldown, his shell surf was on cooldown. Yeah, he got kind of in a very odd spot right there. But in the end, he's fine. Moraxis is pushing the top lane while this is all going down. He's just kind of having his own time up here, keeping them at least somewhat occupied, you could say. But instead, stay green. They're not going to be worried or distracted by that. They're going to go right for Congor. And of course, Congor is going to start falling very, very quickly. I mean, Draconis is doing so much damage to him. You see the crits popping up, 796, numbers like that. And it's when you think of also how fast he's attacking, and it really is ridiculous, the damage that's coming out from him. So I'm not going to commit to the Congor by any means, but definitely in position to do it.
Yeah, they're still kind of floating around there. Beacon's still floating around there because he doesn't know exactly where the position is of the Hellborn team, or the Legion team, I should say. And he doesn't want to get caught out right here because he knows if he gets caught out, it's going to waste a buyout. He is definitely going to buy out if he gets caught, and they try for a
5,100 gold, by the way.
Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to comment too. Like, what item could you possibly be saving that you want to buy for in full, and still have a buyout. Like, maybe Demonic, but if you're going to go for Demonic, buy that damn Soul's Bulwark. Like, there's no point. So I don't know what he's saving
I think
for.
a Frostfield Blade is actually pretty solid here. But
Well, then he could buy the Blade Mail and use that. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
well, Congor's dead.
Yep. By the way, who picked up the bananas? Okay, they're still on the ground. Token of Life on Wretched Hag. Jeraziah looks like he's going to be the candidate to pick up the bananas here. So. Remember, too, I mean, look at the overall stats. It still is in favor of complexity. But it's even at a point now where I think you might even agree. It seems like State Green's in the better spot. They are. Yeah.
Despite all that, so.
And I feel the biggest thing, too, is it's come down to it, these Tempest Ultimates, man. They cannot be countered. That is the big thing. We're going to need, like, Chessie to constantly scout out for Skeleton Kings because that's going to be the factor. And I'm watching him right now. He has none. There are no Skeleton Kings. Maybe he's just getting unlucky, but they actually saved one here for him. So they know it just as much as we do, that Skeleton Kings are going to play a big role in these upcoming team fights.
Of course, yeah. Okay, there we go. He takes over that one, so he has a double Minotaur Skeleton King, so at least he has one now.
He needs like 3. He really does.
Yeah, at this point, the Minotaurs, are they really doing much in these fights? Probably not, for you, honestly. So Skeleton Kings are the big one, and of course, again, I'm sure it's just a case, though. He's just been getting unlucky more so than not actually doing that, but... I'm looking actually through the cans right now. There's only a couple up on the Legion side, and no Skeleton King. So he'll have to hope to get lucky in that sense and get the army of Skeleton Kings. But at least having the one is the good news. Now, just to make sure that doesn't get caught by Tempest, if we do have a fight coming up here. And buyback situation again. I'm still very surprised by this, but there's only been the one buyback used by Darkly, which you even said was very questionable buyback. At least the time that he did it at. So, but other than that, everyone else still has full buybacks. So both their buybacks to go. You see Draconis just continuing to farm more. I mean, I guess if you're Draconis, you obviously farming for both buyback.
Of course, yeah.
Also, maybe a rebuy of a Shrunken Head. It is down to 6 seconds now. So
yeah, you can rebuy your Shrunken Head, 2 buyouts. You can also turn those Steam Boots into post haste, and that'll be effective as well. So yeah, he can still be farming up just a bit. And
5,700 gold and more axes.
This is the thing, though. Okay, look at the stats. I don't know why he's saving that, but I'm looking at Keizu. Okay, he's 0-4-1. You think about the stats, you're like, God, what an off game he's having, and you think, oh my God, 176 GPM, like that's terrible. But he doesn't need anything else. Like Jeraziah doesn't need it. He's got core items. I said that 40 minutes ago.
Yeah. When
he farmed 90% of his CS in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Basically. So I mean that's the love and the core of Jeraziah. It's like you don't really need that much.
Yeah.
He just built himself up just a little bit tanky. He sits in the back, casts his spells. You have to go on him, but it's like you're spending all your time and resources to go on a 170 GPM hero. So
yeah, you know, again, you brought it up, and we happened to see him yesterday, so you were kind of wondering going into this game if there's a chance we're going to see him. Obviously, we ended up seeing him here. But, you know, as I was talking about, it seems like Jeraziah, he goes in, not even necessarily in waves. He's more so like he'll be picked up, he'll do very well for the team, even be the reason they want it.
And like a ban,
or just like not even seen again. Like he just doesn't get banned, but he doesn't get picked either. So it's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, picked up here. Obviously, I mean, I feel if this happens to go Game 3, definitely Complexity is going to ban Jeraziah, at least maybe even blind ban, knowing B-Kid, but yeah, he really is just one of those heroes. I mean, you said he needs just a very early initial farm, but after that, it's not much, and he'll do wonders for your team. So, I'm sure he is trying to maybe finish a barrier idle here. In fact, it looks like he may be trying to get some of these creep kills. Oh, never mind. Get the last one? Yeah, he gets the last one. So, get some of those creep kills and maybe finish that barrier idle. But yeah, it's just again at this point really luxury. So once again, more of a passive style game. Congor is not up yet. Obviously, as they still have a token of life, so I don't even know what I'm saying. He still has the token of life for another 3 minutes here. Does Wretched Hag, so
I wouldn't even get a barrier idle if I was Jeraziah. If I could somehow muster up a Nullstone in this game, like it'd be just golden. Like he could sell his Ring of Source. He doesn't really need that at this point. Sell whatever he can. Like I said, if he musters up enough gold for a Nullstone, then that biggest blink initiation that can actually kill him, which is from Araxis, that he's the only one that has a Hellflower, will be totally like mitigated. Again, 6,200 on Araxis. Oh, what is he? Yeah, I think he's just going to try to buy a Demonic in full, and then still have buyout after that. So he's going to need, well, how much is it in full? 5,500. So he's going to need like 8K about.
You have 5,900. You have 6,300 now actually on Dark Lady too. So a lot of gold being pulled in. And she actually only has the one buyback even. So. They're
still ahead in the numbers, which is fun, which is crazy.
Again, yeah, that's what I said earlier. like I said, complexity still isn't ahead of the stats, but Stay Green, it just feels like they are the ones that are actually ahead. It really does, and they're the ones that have the advantage here. So, and for good reason, of course. So, and here we go. Stay Green figures that this is a good time. Look at the damage from Draconis on the tower. It just melts away. A protection charm is applied to him, by the way. Beacon, in the meantime, is pushing the top lane, but he will port back. And there's the full purchase of the Demonic Breastplate. Does he have enough money for buyback? He doesn't right now, actually. So. Yeah, there goes that idea. But he does have the Demonic Breastplate at least, and that'll be helpful, sure, for the team. But
yeah, I don't know about that. Like, I feel like even just Soul's Bulwark and then having enough for buyout. Like, I always say, well, if you're the one getting pushed on, you're defending, you should always save for a buyout because you can be right back in that fight ASAP.
Oh, Dark Lady does have 7K, so definitely has enough. And look at the damage again, though, by Draconis. Just dives in. Dark Lady's already at half-life, and she has to go back to the well.
Yeah.
This just seems like it's going to be so overwhelming for complexity. Unless they just play this perfectly, unless they get a great catch somehow, SG should possibly be able to just kind of roll in here and make it difficult. Now, the middle and top lane is being pushed in complexity's favor, at least, so they got that kind of working for them. So need to keep that in mind, but now the melee Rax is dropping. Course of vulnerability already used. There's a Dragon Flame coming out. The Void Talisman going to be activated by Glacius. Darkity jumps in. Draconis just diving big time, but now Draconis starting to drop a little bit himself. Darkity doing a lot of damage to him. Soul's Blessing comes out, though, and Darkity wanting to turn around. The Tempest Ultimate pulling him in right there. No stop on the Tempest Channel. Soul's Blessing going to be used. Down goes Darkity. Draconis now being locked down by Miraxis. Darkity buys back into the fight. Glacial Downpour going to be used. Darkity jumps back in, and Draconis is still alive, though. And Dark Lady just being chain CC'd in the background, finally coming back in, but she's being too slow. She tries to get the kill. Draconis one more auto attack. Not going to be enough. Blazing Fight activated. There's a heal bomb from Jeremiah. Turning this around. Look at the kill, but at what cost right there? Falls herself. She has no buybacks left despite having 4,200 gold, but it looks like Complexity is going to hold this off in the end, although Draconis buys back, and he TPs in with the posters. Here comes Daddy. Down goes Ophelia. Glacius is going to activate the Void Talisman, but he's going to end up dying in the end. Moon Meander will port back to base with a Shell Surf, but Darkity's dead for 60 seconds.
Yeah, I knew right away that's what Slick was going to do. I saw it before it even happened. He rise up post haste. Actually, a fantastic idea by Chesty. He tried to kill the creep that Draconis was porting to. One of the silly things is he almost screwed up. He had a ballista right there, right next to him, to port to, but he almost screwed it up by porting to one of the other smaller creeps. Like I said, Chesty had a good idea. Tempest Hole was not canceled here. We might still see an engagement right here.
Go for it, but there's the shrunken heads. Miraxis jumps in the background of Jeremiah, but you know, what is that going to accomplish in the end? He may get a kill onto him, but you see Draconis just tearing up Miraxis. Finally, the Matrix deactivating, and down he goes. Jeremiah stays alive. Wretched cleans up, and it looks like we are going to be heading to a third and final game, most likely here, between Complexity and Stay Green. Wow, what a game. I mean, I guess it's not over just yet. Moon Meander trying his best to defend right here. Melee Rax going down, though. He'll eventually be bursted down, though. Miraxis does buy back, but now he's being bursted down. Draconis just too much damage. He'll fall, and now the range Rax going out. So Dark Lady is up, I guess. Again, Complexity not conceding just yet. They are going to try to play this out here. Okay, I mean, I guess I'm fine with that. Maybe I was a little bit too ahead of myself, but
well, I know, yeah, it's difficult, but like. You have this gold, and you still had actually still not like crazy as far as gold experience goes, but the team fight, the power from Draconis, and here we go. They actually initiate onto Draconis. The protective charm coming out. They have an ultimate from Jeremiah in another 10 seconds. He's right there, and oh wow, there's just too much from this Legion team.
Yeah, you see the Storm Spirit going to be used on a heal coming up from Philly, but the Rax are going down. We're going to see mega creeps. No, there's still range backs in the middle lane. But Darkity just, she can't find the timing to go, and she really wants to, but she knows that she's going to be chasing seed a lot of damage. In fact, there we go. She gets bursted down. And, okay, if it wasn't over already, now it definitely should be. I mean, Soul's Blessing if you need. There's the vote to concede. And we are going to a third and final game here. Complexity taking on Stay Green here for the Losers Bracket Finals, ladies and gentlemen. Holy crap, what a game indeed. I mean, definitely some big question marks there at the end, you know, with buyback situations and buying items and whatnot, but Stay Green's team, just as a team, their fighting potential was just way too intense for Complexity to handle. That became evident by the end especially.
It was. I mean, like, I point back to the stats, and you're like, oh, 4-3 Jeremiah, but he does so much for the team. But I don't even think it was the big factor was the Jeremiah. I think it was the Tempest. Like, the fact that they're not able to cancel these ultimates. And I saw there at the end, He did have two Skeleton Kings, actually. One walked into the ultimate. One tried to cancel it, but the way that it was positioned, it was just impossible for him to get it. So, you know, you can't rely on Skeleton Kings to cancel those ultimates. They really needed some kind of superior magic thing to actually cancel that ultimate because Z-Freak was having just too easy of a time locking down the important heroes in his ultimates. And since they couldn't cancel it, that was the biggest factor. I mean, Jeremiah definitely played a huge role, as did everyone on this team. But I think the biggest thing was that Tempest ultimate.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, 0-4-3, you think, okay, KZU did nothing that game, but it's Jeremiah is not about those hero kill stats. He's about sitting in the back on Soul's Blessing, Protective Charm, healing his team up, and he most certainly did that. But yeah, Tempest, no doubt. I mean, just as a team, it really just was ridiculous for Complexity to handle. And well, we are going to a third and final game, ladies and gentlemen. So big news to hear that, and really excited for that. So definitely sit tight. We're of course going to take another short break here. But we'll be coming back with, well, game number 3. Complexity versus Stay Green. Who will face Trademark Esports in the grand finals? We'll find out next.